Here to lead us in the PwC Upskilling Challenge session, please welcome Carlos Morita, Emerging Technologies Leader, PwC.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be with you again. And I love those in-between sessions with people introducing themselves and their background. That's a lot of fun. So Carlos Morita, partner with PwC. My nationality is Portuguese. I was born there, immigrated to the US in 1976, and proud to be in America, as well as having my lineage back to Portugal. I'm joined by Tiago Leal, and he will introduce himself when his session comes up. But we are continuing the dialogue that we started about 2 years ago around the support of our efforts together to build our digital acumen. For those that were around back in 2019, wow, 99. 2019, we talked about our skills and getting an understanding of our proficiency. That was the beginning of our journey. But we said then that that is not the end, that there's a continuation and a progression that we would need to go through to continue that journey. And the next step is now. And I'll start with a quote by our senior partner in the US, who said probably it the best in terms of what this really is about, in terms of why we're trying to engage in this dialogue with the high-tech community. And it starts with the aspect that we know, and I think most of us are aware, that there's a transformation that's happening, and probably no more so than the last 12 months has become real to a lot of us as we face the COVID challenge around the importance of working digitally. And that started with some of the collaboration tools which we're using today. It also was reinforced with some of the other things that we had to adopt as we faced the challenge of COVID and having to work with each other and maintain the level of productivity. But also we started realizing that those technologies actually enhance our productivity and perhaps in some cases even enhance our work-life balance in ways that we had not even thought of going into the pandemic that this technology could deliver. But so the technology is the tool, but our ability to be creative in the use of it is the opportunity, and really the engagement, the value creation that we hope will come out of our dialogue is how we take that responsibility back to our people and more important to our society. So when we think about that, we'll get a little more specific about what we mean when we say that part of this is not just about learning about technology, but how we engage with our people and each other, and also about how we can potentially drive value into our familia in our society. So hang on to that. That's going to be the theme of today, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But let's talk a little bit about where we've come from and where we are going. As I mentioned, there are three aspects around building digital acumen or going through the digital journey. And we started with the knowledge and learning aspect of what it means to understand what digital capabilities are. And most of you, I'm sure, have gone through your own learning process, whether it's be within your organizations or maybe in your own self-interest to improve your understanding of what these digital capabilities are, whether it's automations through robotics or analytical capabilities through augmentation tools or blockchain or artificial intelligence or even virtual reality or augmented reality. I'm sure you've picked up these concepts along the way, and you've started to build your capability. But at that point, we introduced the opportunity to profile a high-tech community and see where we were from our digital acumen, and also where we thought we could grow and develop more opportunities to get smarter about these capabilities and technologies. And I think our acumen build has certainly been growing since we started this program in 2019. Next slide, Tiago. And I think if for those of you that hadn't participated on that or were not here when we started that journey, it's not too late. So we want you to still continue to do the uplearning. And if you don't remember how to access it, our digital fitness app assessment tool is free and available for everybody in the high-tech familia. All you need to do is go down to either the Apple Store, I think it's Apple Store predominantly, and search for the digital fitness assessment. And then there's a learning code in there called that you type in, which is learn all without the vowels other than the A. Don't ask me how we come up with these code words, but there's a madness to it, I'm sure. But if you type that in, that would both give you the opportunity to access the tool and all its learning content, and also do some of your own fitness assessment. I will tell you that all this is confidential, all this is personalized. Nobody's looking at either your acumen score or reporting on it or tracking your progression. This is really an opportunity for you just to leverage an asset that was built for our own capability within our firm, as we kind of decide to share it with a broader audience. But it's an opportunity for you to gain access to something that's easy, practical, and also informative in terms of your own progression around the learning process. But we're ready for the next step. And I think that's where the rest of us are starting to think about, as we think about the different aspects around what that learning tool will identify for you in terms of where your skills are, your behaviors, your mindset, and your relationships, and gives you some of the feedback and ways to you can improve your capability. But as you can see through this chart, the high-tech familia is growing in their acumen skills around behaviors, mindsets, relationships, and skill sets. And we expect that will continue to grow. And that's why we're encouraging you to be leaders in this digital transformational age, and by building your skills and your acumen, because that's where we start the journey. But as I mentioned, we're ready to take on the next step. And our next step that we want to introduce to the high-tech familia and ask for your engagement, like you did before with the learning program and the Up Knowledge skill assessment, and intaking some of that content and developing and growing your knowledge base, is to practice it. And it's not going to be just an exercise in practicing, how to do and build digital capabilities. What we're looking to do is create something that is going to be, focusing on our community, right? I was involved with a series of university discussions as part of our recruiting program, and the universities were concerned around recruitment, particularly around the diversity initiative that they have to make sure that scholarships and opportunities were being given that represented the broader community versus the kind of predominant demographic of their particular university, which was largely focusing on a non-diverse base of candidates and recruits and scholarship donation contributions. And they were looking to see if there was a way that we could build some kind of digital capability that will allow the diversity community that's out there looking for educational opportunities, grants, scholarships, and so forth, to be able to gain access to them and make them aware that they exist. And so we started brainstorming an idea around building an augmented capability that would be available through the web, that would help students looking for scholarships, looking for universities that were promoting diversity programs and opportunities, that would be easy to find, as opposed to the arduous process of looking through various websites and different databases to try to get an understanding of that. That was one idea of potentially many. And so part of what we're looking to do as part of the next step on a journey is to engage the high-tech familia and think about and innovate some ideas that we can potentially turn into digital assets that are going to benefit our Hispanic community, in particularly in ways that could be focusing around their health, their well-being, their safety, their security, or even their opportunities. And that's where we want to apply some of the intellectual power of the high-tech community, coupled with the tools and the processes by which we will bring to support that initiative and come out of this with a couple of ideas, and more importantly, a couple of digitized assets that could be turned into opportunities that could benefit our broader Hispanic community. So that's the challenge that we're putting before you, and we're hoping you take it on. But Tiago will take you through and talk about what that looks like. Tiago?
Thank you, Carlos. Yeah. I'd like to introduce myself, Tiago Leal. I'm a senior manager at PwC, part of the digital operations practice. And I'm very grateful for the power of technology that brings us together and enable us here to keep pushing and keep pulling each other up and fulfilling a high-tech mission, especially now with the high-tech digital upskilling challenge. It's the next step on the journey, and we'll be able to come together as we previously learned together topics such as automation. We learned a little bit about robotics, about visualization through the digital fitness app. Now it's part to put it in practice. And we are designing a contest. We're going to give you more details about this. I'll walk you through a little bit, but in the end of the day, we're going to have something tangible that we can give back and make an impact to the community. So it's nothing that we're going to apply in a corporate world or to gain competitive advantage, but instead making an impact in the community. Right? The challenge, and I'll walk you through in detail, it's made of 4 main steps. The components of the challenge starts with first with a digital introduction. And this specific step gives you a little bit of background on the benefits of digital upskilling and gives you a little flavor of what this idea should look and feel, just to give you a little bit of imagining what's possible, right? Like, what are the possibilities that we can achieve with that? And with this, I just want to throw there one question that you may have in mind. The question may be, hey, what if I didn't participate on the prior phase, which was the learning aspect? Can I still join? Yes, please. That's the short answer, right? Come join us. You'll have the opportunity to first get up to speed, but then also understand the benefits of the upskilling and get acclimated with all the ideas, so you can loop in and get into step number 2, which is really where you're going to pitch in and contribute here on the idea generation. The way we're going to do this is participants are going to use tools and some methods we're going to provide you with to mine an idea. This is the ideation phase. So different topics: housing, immigration, youth education, you name it, things that we can do some good in the community. We're going to come up with some ideas, brainstorm, and then prioritize in this one event. And from there, after we prioritize, we figure out what ideas we're going to go forward with as a groups, and then we'll start the areas of development. I want to talk to you a little bit about the development aspect, because you're going to get some help. So PwC has those folks that we call the digital accelerators. They're really our technology ninjas here, and they're highly trained in different areas of automation, robotics, data visualization. And those folks are going to act more as same time as enablers, let me use this word, to help put your ideas into action. So they're actually going to, through a series of iterations, make sure that we're developing this idea to the stage where we can actually share with the community. And then 4th step is where we do a presentation. And we, on the fall of next year, this year summit, we're going to get together and have a presentation with a judging panel to figure out the winner and the ideas that we're actually going to roll out to the community. So key dates to keep in mind is actually Friday, April 2nd. We actually kick off this program, this part of the journey, with the digital introduction, step number 1. And now it's the time to sign up. You see this QRC code. So you can all pull up your cell phones and join. You're going to be taken to a form where you can actually sign up, and we're going to start doing the groups, or organizing the groups based on areas of interest and your backgrounds. So we can initiate with that.
So a couple of things on what you can expect through that, because what we are not expecting you to do is spend a lot of time and energy around the physical creation of your ideas, right? What we're looking for the high-tech familia to do is bring your background and experience in different perspectives from different industries, right? And think about the challenges that our broader Hispanic community are facing on a day-to-day basis, right? The aspect of this is really around building and leveraging your acumen. What you're going to get in support of making that concept a reality is, PwC and some of our, capabilities and our tool sets and some other things to try to take that and construct it, and then you can help edit and revise and make it impactful. And I think the aspect of bringing it back to the community, making this a little bit of a challenge, is making it a little bit of a fun event, but also a way to kind of create a community interest around what we're trying to do with whatever ends up being kind of the better idea. Frankly, if we come up with 5 great ideas and it's a tie, so be it, right? If we can get to that level of scale and impact, because I think what we've all learned, hopefully through this time, is that with these digital tools, we can do a lot of miraculous things. But we've also learned, I think, in the last 12 months, how challenging, life can be, right? Without the level of connectivity and facilitation that comes from building good quality digital components and digital tools to help us run our everyday life and make things easier. We're going to come out of this whole COVID situation and experience very different, right? And the world is going to feel different. It's going to work differently, and it's going to definitely have a lot more interesting dynamics versus that which we were experiencing going into the last 12 months. And I think what we're trying to do with this opportunity is take a concept like digital transformation, which means a lot of things to a lot of different people, and the different experiences people have had over the last 12 months in terms of how they've been able to engage digitally with their work, their family, their loved ones, and so forth, and create something of relevance, importance, and that can help a broader community, right, to address problems and challenges, right, that we may have seen along the way or personally experienced, right, as we navigated that we didn't get to a tangible answer. It's a way to learn. It's a way to apply that learning. It's a way of leveraging what you've already known, and it's a way of leaning and giving back to our community in a way that's easy, I think, relatively so, but also potentially very relevant and impactful. That's the goal of all this. So that way we're not just doing it as an exercise, but an exercise that has a value return that we can all take tremendous pride in. So
this is great, Carlos. Yep. I just want to highlight a couple examples just as a segue to what you just said, right? What is the type of things that we can create, right? What are some things? And for those of you who just joined, please, you can go to the left of the live media player in the menu section, and there's a section called Upskilling Challenger. You can download your one pager and get a little, like a 30-second view of what we've been talking about, and a couple questions, right? If you're not sure on the time commitment, if you're not sure if you're going to be able to participate in all the sessions or not, start signing up and we'll work with you, right? We'll work with you on that. Couple examples. So I'll bring to your attention. 2 examples from the community and 1 example of an idea that was actually generated for the corporate world from an inclusion perspective. Interesting ones. So the first one is actually a he for she he for she is a United Nations global solidarity movement for gender equality. And there's a bot that was created that by some PwC folks that you actually sign up. There's a series of steps for you to sign up and do the pledge for that organization, and you can do that automatically, right? So you start up and that will start generating the screens for you. That's one. Second one, on the corporate world, there is a resume review redaction for folks that work in HR or in recruiting and don't want to go through the bias of either gender or any sorts of backgrounds. So what it does, for this resume book, automatically covers the name, so it doesn't give you a hint if it's a gender-wise or background for any other nationality or what have you. So it only gives literally the qualifications for the candidates, make it in an unbiased way, or just cleaning any sort of like potential blind spots that you may have there. And then the last one, which is really interesting, we found one student that was able to put together this automation and data visualization, where she was able to figure out scholarships and grants that were applied to her based on her background, and doing that automatically. And she was then, example, Carlos previously mentioned, that was able to get her education and really impact in the society. First for her, but that's something that can apply to other people. So this is just to give you a flavor of all the possibilities that are out there. And don't worry about your level or of current upskilling, because what we need is actually your ideas, how we can make the impact on the society, how we can make good to our community, and then we'll take it from there and work together to make that happen and bring it to life. Carlos, back to you.
Yeah, that last one particularly is near and dear to my heart. I was pleasantly shocked but overwhelmed by the fact that this individual took it upon herself to innovate something as beneficial to her as a scholarship finder robot, but more importantly was the fact that she was able to fund her education without a single loan for the 4 years of college that she actually was now able to fund for herself, by the virtue of just having the ability to both identify, sign up or submit her essays or application, everything about as electronic, most of which, about 90% of which electronically, versus the fumbling aspect of what we do and what most students have to go through to get even one application submitted. So a tremendous aspect of self-determination for sure, but more so just the overwhelming benefit that was realized by something so practical and yet very innovative to solve a very common challenge that exists for a lot of different people. And I think that's where we got very excited around coming back to the high-tech familia and really thinking about, well, if somebody has perhaps less experience than some of us in the high-tech familia community can come up with something that great. Imagine what the years of experience that are part of this community could do to turn into something even much more magnificent, right? That could benefit thousands, if not tens of thousands of people in our high-tech communities across the U.S. and even perhaps even globally. So I know that's an spiral challenge, and maybe it's too grandiose, but I've seen tremendous things happen when a couple people apply themselves, and I think the aspect of what we're doing here could both benefit us from a learning perspective, but also could potentially impact people that we don't even know, that we could draw some tremendous benefit from the exercise. I don't know if there's a channel, and apologize for any questions we can entertain. I know we have only a couple minutes left, but if there's any questions, we'd be happy to take them. Okay.
Sounds
Don't think there are
good.
any questions right now. So that was pretty straightforward. I think everybody got it. I think I will close with this aspect of the conversation. we know digital is not new to everybody in this community. We've seen the presentations. We have been engaged in the summit, and we hear the incredible content that's been pulled together and presented. So I don't think there's anyone in this community, in this familia, in this high-tech community that doesn't understand what digital is about. I would ask you, how engaged are you, right? And how much have you actually applied or been able to apply, given your roles and acumen? And more so, have you had the chance and opportunity to apply in a way that could be socially minded and community minded? Because oftentimes we don't, because we have so much work to do for our respective companies or even our clients, in the cases of those that are in the service business, like myself. But it's an opportunity here to go beyond ourselves and really take this aspect of this challenge, this learning opportunity, and in a way that could benefit people that don't have the opportunity to be in the room with us and hear all this tremendous content. So I ask you to participate, not because it's going to be a burden, not because it's going to create a big time glut. It won't. We promise you we won't. We'll work with you with that. But more importantly, because you have so much to offer and so much to give and so much impact you can make. And we need that formula, because we can't just formulate that with a very limited group of people with a very narrow perspective or an experience base. So we're looking to the high-tech familia. We know you've risen to the challenge, and we're putting one in front of you once again and asking you to engage. And we hope you sign up and be courageous and bold and impactful and community focused and driven, because there's nothing much more rewarding than recognizing when we have that kind of impact versus the day-to-day stuff that we need to do as part of our work and career responsibilities. So I hope you take up the challenge. I look forward to seeing you at our kickoff in a couple of weeks, and then working with you as we move this forward. Until then, take care.
We would like to thank our corporate partners for their continued support of high-tech and belief in our mission to provide a forum for the leadership development and advancement of technology executives in the Hispanic community. Thank you to our summit host sponsor, JPMorgan Chase & Co. Thank you to high-tech's platinum sponsors, Accenture, AWS, Bank of America, Capital One, Cisco, Google Cloud, KPMG, Microsoft, Twitter, and United Airlines. Thank you to our high-tech gold partners, Apple, AT&T, BNY Mellon, Citi, Dell, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, Johnson & Johnson, Liberty Mutual, Lockheed Martin, McKesson, Morgan Stanley, Nationwide, Northwestern Mutual, Oracle, PwC, P&G, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Trend Micro, and Wells Fargo. Thank you to the high-tech silver partners, Freddie Mac, HP, IBM, SAP, Schneider Electric, Tech Systems, Travelers, and Visa. Thank you to our high-tech bronze partners, Adobe, Amazon, Amdocs, Capgemini, Cardinal Health, Claro, Cognizant, Comerica Bank, DocuSign, Globant, Link America, NGI, Pinnacle Group, Pyramid, Reviture, Workday, and Worldwide Technologies. Once again, mil gracias to all our corporate partners.